So I'm back. So we in Gemini season now. So I want to talk about Geminis and give my experience with Geminis like I've been doing every season. My breakdown and the experiences that I have had with Geminis in my life or who I might have dated. So first getting into it, like the title say, is that um I want to break down why Gemini is considered the most hated sign. And if you didn't know, Gemini's out there, y'all is kind of voted the most hated sign, which I'm about to show. Where is it? Okay, so as you can see, I typed in most hated zodiac sign. So AI not telling us nothing. This is why AI is not the end all be all. But as we go down to all of the lists, so first is Yahoo. They rank the most disliked zodiac signs according to astrologers. Number one is Gemini, followed by Scorpio, Capricorn, and Virgo. I think this is in order. Yeah, rank. So yeah, Gemini's first on Yahoo list. Uh, on this list, and I like this site because they have a lot of detail. Gemini's is number one on the list. Um, so this is just ask them random people. Okay, this is Divine Talk. Gemini, again, the most disliked sign. So that's with three sites already that have Gemini ranked as the most hated sign. Then on this site, parade.com, Gemini's is the most hated sign. So I'll even look at like a Reddit or somewhere where regular people give their opinion. Geminis are the most hated. Scorpios are second. I was so surprised when I realized Gemini was getting so much hate. Um, what else? Well, they saying that Capricorn is to them. Um, it's Death Gemini or Scorpio. I used to hate Geminis, but I think that's because they associated with being two-faced. Um, Gemini, Scorpio. Now, I didn't even see Scorpio being second, but they definitely top five. But we'll wait until we get to Scorpio season. Shout out to Diddy. Shout out to Diddy and the rest of the Scorpios. But we talking about Virgo. I mean, not Virgo, Gemini. So why Gemini's the most hated sign? And it's not all bad because, of course, in my video, I give you the good and the bad. So, Gemini's, this is not about the bad, y'all. I'm gonna give the good side of Gemini and what's good about Gemini. So, why Gemini's the most hated sign? The common reasons before I give my reasons in a more in-depth breakdown, like I just read, Geminis are considered two-faced because they have two sides to them. They can be unreliable, they the biggest cheaters. I meant to look at that. I meant to show that also. But when you look up what zodiac sign cheats the most, Gemini's usually at the top of the list. They definitely in the top three. You're not gonna find one list of the biggest cheaters that where Gemini's not in the top three, if not number one, most of the time. Um, what else about Gemini? Geminis are crazy to a certain degree. A la Kanye is the perfect example of that. Just, just straight, just a mental case. Like a lot, like some Geminis can be a mental case also. Um, so the four most common reasons why Gemini is considered the most hated sign because they big cheaters, they unfaithful in relationships, they two-faced it, they talk bad behind people back, they like the gossip because they are the sign of communication, and then they unreliable. I don't know if I just said that twice, but yeah, so those some of the reasons. So give me a more in-depth breakdown. So my experience with Gemini is cause we only doing the bad right now, cause we starting off with the most hated. I'm gonna get to the good part of Gemini, trust me. Um, so my experience with Gemini, I actually haven't had that many experiences with Geminis, and I'm a Aquarius. So when you look it up and say that my most compatible sign is a Gemini or a Libra, because we all air signs. So I'm supposed to be real compatible with Geminis, but I never dated a Gemini seriously. I think Gemini is actually the only sign that I haven't dated somebody seriously from, which is crazy. Like I even dated a Cancer and a Pisces serious, and that was my worst like matchups. But for some reason, I just never found a Gemini or clicked with one. But um, what was I about to say? Oh, okay. So, but my experience outside of that, because like my dad is a Gemini. Um, Who else do I know is a Gemini? 'Cause a couple of my friends is Geminis. Some of my favorite artists is Gemini. Like you see Tupac right there is a Gemini, who's my favorite artist. So um I like Biggie, Ice Cube. I like a lot of Gemini artists, which I'm gonna get into later. But my point is that I'm an Aquarius, so I'm supposed to be the most compatible with Gemini. Oh, and I like Kanye. Before Kanye started acting crazy, like most people, college dropout through My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I was a Kanye fan. But so that's my experience. Like my dad is a Gemini. I had a couple Gemini friends. Um, a couple of my exes dated Geminis, and they told me about them. Like I had a female best friend, and her baby daddy or child father was a Gemini. So I'm pulling from all of these experiences. So this is what I noticed about Gemini, and that some of the sayings is true. When they say that Gemini is the biggest cheating sign, in my experience, that is true. Every Gemini I know was a big cheater. My dad was a big cheater. That's why I didn't work out with my mom. My best friend, who I just told you, who had a child with the Gemini, he cheated on her. He cheated on her the entire relationship. Um, who else? So all see, and then even my Gemini friends is known for cheating. Um, My dad actually got married to another Gemini twice, and my dad told me that the only person who understands a Gemini is another Gemini. So if you're a Gemini, you might need to get with another Gemini. I know that could go either way, but because their relationship was definitely toxic. So in that case, then yeah, it could go either way. You got to kind of be careful. Um, what else? So yeah, all of the Geminis I know is big cheaters. Um, So that part about the Gemini is true, which is gonna cause you to be hated if you're a big cheater. Next, being unreliable. They say this about Gemini, but that's I experienced this firsthand with my dad. That's why I don't have a good relationship with my dad. That's why I don't talk to my dad because my dad was unreliable my entire child and adulthood. He could never keep a job. That's how a lot of Geminis can be. They can't keep a job. They here and there. A lot of Geminis like to be in the streets. A lot of Geminis, especially if they black or grew up in the hood, a lot of Geminis get caught up in that like the ignorance of the street. Like even though Gemini is a smart sign, which I'm gonna get into, but Geminis like to fit in. So, you see from Kodak Black or even an Ice Cube, even Tupac, um, it was somebody else who I'm missing. Geminis always have two sides to them. So one of the side is usually a good and a bad side, just like any zodiac sign. I mean, any person, usually when we say two sides, it's usually good and bad, and Gemini do represent that. Like, with Tupac had his poetic side and his his uplifting side. Brenda's got a baby, dear mama, keep your head up. But then at the same time, he had his hit 'em up and bomb first and best as a rider, like all of the hood side. And that's why a lot of people always said that Tupac was contradictory. And a lot of people used to always criticize him because they were like, well, one minute he's pro-black, and then the next minute he talking about killing black people and all of that. And that goes to being a Gemini. One of the outlaws said that too. But that's why I said astrology, astrology don't lie. And it even goes to Tupac. That's why Tupac had two sides to him like that. Is because of him being a Gemini. That was his two sides. Then you can even look at the Ice Cube Ice Cube got his super "Are we there yet?" family side, nice side, and then Ice Cube had his hood side, America's Most Wanted and Predator and all of that. So even you see with Kendrick Lamar now. One minute Kendrick Lamar is a conscious rapper and he conscious and he making songs with Drake. Now all of a sudden he hate Drake and he making songs like Squabble Up and Not Like Us. Like, that's how Gemini is. Kanye is another example. Kanye started off conscious and then he just flipped the script and turned into a crazy mad person. That's usually how Gemini is. They usually got one side that people love and one side that people hate, just like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is another Gemini. Look at how hated he is. He's probably the most hated president in recent memory. And you see the two sides with him. So that's what it is with Gemini. That Gemini is always going, for whatever reason, have a bad side or a side that people just don't like or that rub people the wrong way. So, that's another thing. And then, like I said, they real unreliable. Like I said, like, if you have a Gemini parent, unless you lucky enough to have like because even look at Kanye, Kanye can't even see his kids, but Kanye got money to where it's kind of okay, like something like if you lucky enough to have a Gemini dad or mom or whatever, like Allen Iverson is another one. Maybe if they rich because of their talent, they can help. But when it comes to like being like Gemini's, I'm sorry, it's not one of the best parents. Like nobody, when you start ranking parents and the best parents, Gemini just not gonna be up there. They not the worst because this is the thing. Like Gemini's do spend time with their kids. Like my dad, he would pick me up, he would watch me. Like he wasn't a totally absent father like a lot of Gemini's is. They would try to play the role like they love their kid and try to be there. But when it comes to stability, they're not going to be there, especially if they're not a Gemini who got their stuff together. Because if you unfortunate to have one of the Geminis who out chasing ass, because that's how my dad would. That's how a lot of Geminis can be. They too busy focused on chasing women instead of chasing their goals or being a father, like because Gemini is like that's why they know for cheating. Like they're one of the player signs. Like they love to flirt, they love to communicate and talk to people. So they're more focused on that than actually building things and doing things, which can become a problem. Um, what else about Gemini? My personal experience. Because we was talking about, but that's most of the negative when it comes to the Gemini. It's why they're hated a lot. It's for the reason that I gave, and I didn't seen that the most. Like being two-faced, being one of the most unreliable signs, and then they're the opposite of Sagittarius. And my friend was a Sagittarius, and then I noticed if you put a Sagittarius and a Gemini together, you got a super cheating, unreliable couple. Because Sagittarius is also known for cheating a lot. And then a lot of Sagittarius can be unreliable. So you put them together, it's gonna be hard for real. But so yeah, that's why Gemini is considered the most hated sign because you can't trust them in a relationship or even sometimes as a friend, they can be two-faced. Um, like I said, they unreliable. When it comes to like work, they could like I said, like my dad, they could struggle to keep a job. Some of them can just be crazy. I think it's Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer was a Gemini. I always get it confused. I always get it mixed up. Um, but like you see with like Kanye, or you see like how Tupac got in his moods. Kendrick, like and Ice Cube, like all of these people be beefing with people and just always don't get along with people. Even Gemini moons, we could get into. When I start naming these couple people who got Gemini moons, y'all going to see that astrology is real and that it's true. A couple people who got Gemini moons. Future, the rapper. What is Future known for? having a bunch of women cheating, doing his thing. He broke up with Sierra because he was cheating, flirting a lot. Another Gemini moon is 50 Cent. With it, 50 Cent ain't never been married, known for having different women, known for doing things, known for dealing with different women, and then knowing known for getting into it with people, and clashing with people. That also has to do with him being a Cancer, though. Cancer's y'all up next, so get ready for it. Then you got Draymond Green. Draymond Green got a Gemini moon, and he a Pisces. So, and you know how much people don't like Draymond Green and how he rubbed people the wrong way. So a lot of people who even have Gemini moons, like they have a real off-putting personality that just a lot of people don't get along with. So now getting into the good. So the good things about Gemini is this: the number one thing, of course, about Gemini is that they design a communication and it doesn't lie. Most of the best artists are Geminis. Like I just seen a post that was naming all of the Gemini artists, and there's a lot of them. Like I said, Tupac, Biggie, Kodak Black, Ice Cube, Kendrick Lamar. I think it's Ronald Isley, the main Isley brother, the lead singer of the Isley Brothers is a Gemini. Kanye, who else? Faith Evans, Jadakiss, who else? It's Donald Trump, even though but he's the president and Donald Trump is known for communication. I know he don't make music. That's 10 off the top of my head. Oh, Lauren Hill. Lauren Hill is another one. So there's so many. Andre 3000. Like I can keep going on and on. Like Gemini's, you can't deny that they rule music. Because they're the sign of communication along with Virgo, but they even better than Virgo because they're an air sign. So air sign is already dealing with communication. Then they rule by Mercury, that's the sign of communication. So it only makes sense that they're the best communicator, they're the best talkers. And I have to give Gemini that they do make the best music. Like that's their thing. They're good at even producing. Like Geminis are at the top when it comes to music and making music and communicate. They're great communicators. That's why a lot of Geminis like to flirt, and a lot of Geminis can be players because they know how to talk to women. They smooth talkers, they good at that. And communication is one of the biggest things when it comes to human interaction. So that's why a lot of Geminis can excel. Like my dad was a DJ back in the day. So and he used to DJ house parties and stuff. So when it comes to music, Geminis, rule that. Even though Pisces rule music technically, but Pisces typically rule like music in general, like the sound of music. Like, cause there's a lot of Pisces who's great at like producing and making like just the sound of music. When you look at like Kanye got a Pisces moon, um, and there was somebody else that was just on the tip of my I think Michael Jackson got a Pisces moon. Manny Fresh, the producer, he's a Pisces. Um, there's some other Pisces too, but like Pisces rule music, like the actual sound of music. Gemini rules the communication, like the lyrics and stuff like that. Is what Gemini rules over. So they the best at communication and music, followed by probably Libra and Aquarius. Air signs do rule communication, but Gemini's is at the top of that list, being ruled by Mercury. So that's the number one best thing about Gemini's is that y'all can make music. If I'm a Gemini, I'll be trying to rap or be a politician or a lawyer, anything that has to do with communication, making a YouTube channel or whatever, TikTok, anything that has to do with communication, that's what Geminis is good at, and that's their best trait. Um, what else positive about Gemini? Geminis is a smart sign. Geminis do a lot of dumb stuff, but Geminis are smart, just like other air signs, because they're dealing with mental. There's a lot of genius Geminis. Like when you talk to a Gemini, a lot of them are smart. There are a lot of smart Geminis throughout history that they're very logical. So that's another good thing about them. Even though they make a lot of dumb decisions, though, but they're very smart. Um, but they just do dumb stuff, just like Aries. That's why Gemini and Aries get along a lot. Like Aries is a smart sign, but the stuff that they do, you wouldn't think that they were smart. Um, What else about Geminis that is good? That's every sign. I don't have. Well, I'm gonna leave that one alone because that's something that's dicey. What I was about to say, so I'm gonna leave it alone. But trying to think what else positive about Gemini that I can name. Um, I'm trying to think. Cause to me, them the two main things when it comes to Gemini, the two most positive things. Gemini also is not the most like they can be though. So that's why I said I can't. A lot of stuff I want to say about Gemini, but then when I think about it, it's like, I can't. So, I'm gonna have to pull it up. I'm sorry, Gemini, because like I said, I haven't dated a lot of Geminis. I just got a few friends, and like I said, my dad is a Gemini. So that's the stuff off the top of my head that I can think about Gemini. So I'm gonna see if there's anything positive that I might have missed real quick. So it says intelligence, communication skills, and adaptability. So I already said two of the three. So the adaptability would have to be because they're mutable signs. So we know that and that's a good thing too, because you see that with Tupac and different people that they able to blend into different environments. Like a Gemini can adapt with different people and different surroundings. So that can be a good thing is that a Gemini can they versatile. They can be with this group, then they can get along with this group. Like Geminis are good at connecting with a wide range of people, so that can make them good at being friends with different races and people with different backgrounds. They know how to fit in and get along with the about variety of different people. So I guess I'll put that one in also. But I'm feeling like the video is already too long, so I'm gonna leave it there. So, that's the positive and the negatives about Gemini. If you're a Gemini, you know that some of this is true. You just gotta take the good with the bad. Y'all gotta just stop cheating and being more reliable. Staying at a job or seeing things through. Stop quitting stuff before y'all finish it. And then excel at what y'all good at. Like y'all rural communication. So, y'all should be y'all good at getting women or I can't speak for the females on male, but a lot of women, a lot of Gemini women, can be good at attracting males also. Y'all good at making music, y'all good at talking in this world of communication, like I said, with TikTok, YouTube, music, almost everything has to deal with communication. So that's an area that a lot of Geminis can thrive in. So that's something for Geminis to think about. And I'm out.